It's about 2 billion people all over the world that looks like us, but their lives are a lot harder. Wakanda has the tools to liberate them all.
And what tools are those?
Vibranium.
Welcome to the KR Films Entertainment channel. Today I am going to explain an action movie, Black Panther. The adult's voice tells the story of vibranium, a gigantic meteorite with the toughest metal. Vibranium crashed in the regions of the sources of the Nile River millions of years ago, and it affected the plants. Later in the age of humans, 5 tribes in the land named Wakanda battled for control of that vibranium until a spirit led a certain warrior to find and need a heart-shaped are affected by the metal vibranium. He gained superhuman abilities and became the first Black Panther. For the 5 tribes submit to his power except the Jabahi tribe wants freedom. The Wakandans use the vibranium to develop highly advanced technology. They see the horrors of the other nations and isolated themselves from the rest of the world. They hid and pretended that they are not industrially developed like a third world country. In 1992, Kinteach aka visits his brother and Job, who's working undercover, and Auckland Caliph. Teach Yoga accuses and Job you have assisting black market arms dealer Ulysses Cloud and stealing vibranium from Canada. Enjoy Boost partner reveals he is Surrey, another undercover walk hand and confirms Teach aka suspicions. He confronts and Job who becomes angry and threatens to kill T'Chaka's loyal friend Sorry. Teach aka reluctantly kills then Job to save Zuri and abandons and Job whose son Eric in order to prevent the walk-in and people from learning the truth. In the present day, T'Chaka returns to Wakanda to assume the throne after 1 week following T'Chaka's death at the hands of Helmetsimo disguised as a masked James Barnes. After working with the Coin, the leader of the all-female fighting force the Dorimo Large, to extract his ex-lover Kyo from an undercover assignment in Nigeria Zombies a Forest. He reunites with his mother Queen Reminder and younger sister Princess Yuri, the nation's current technological genius. Later on his kingship ceremony, to formally in him as the king, T'Chaka drinks the liquid that removes his enhanced strength and formally invites anyone to challenge his claim as king and ritual combat. The challenger to step forward on Baku, the leader of the mountain-dwelling Jabari tribe, who claims that T'Chaka is not worthy of being king. The two engage in ritual combat, and even without his strength T'Chaka manages the best him and spares his wife. T'Challa has crowned the new king and drinks a fluid derived from the heart-shaped ear. As his body digests the herb, T'Challa goes into a deep sleep, where he visits the ancestral plane and reunites with a vision of his father, who advises him he is a good man but also warns him that he has hard times ahead and should surround himself with people he trusts. With this, T'Chaka wakes up from his dream. At the same time, in London, a gang led by Clough and including an ex-US Black Ops soldier Eric Stevens aka Killmonger steals an ancient walk-in and vibrating a max from a museum. When Wakanda hears of Clough's actions and receives word that Close resurfaced in South Korea, all his friend Wakabi lost his parents as a result of the dealer's actions, urges the young monarch to bring him to justice. Before the mission, T'Chaka meets with Sho. He was developed a number of impressive technology including sound-absorbent shoes as well as modifications to the Black Panther suit. It is disguised as a necklace and it absorbs each hit it takes and turns it into kinetic energy. T'Chaka Okoye here in the Kia plan to intercept Clough in an underground casino in Busan, where you will be selling the stolen artifact to an unknown buyer. However, the plan goes wrong when T'Challa discovers the buyer is Kia agent Everett Ross, and Klaus suspects the deal is a setup. As a result, the door on the lodge are forced to sabotage the operation, inciting a shootout. When Clough attempts to escape, T'Challa Ross Shohi Nikita and Sway intercept him in a car chase across the city. T'Challa follows in his suit while Shohi rides a car through a projection back home that operates an actual car that T'Challa rides on. Clough ultimately crashes and T'Challa comes close to killing him. But after watching civilians filming him, he is forced to decide against it and hands an into the custody of the Kia. Ross interrogate Cloud while T'Challa and Queen listen, and through a device T'Challa planted on Ross, Clough reveals to Ross what he previously didn't know about Wakanda and all that it contains. Outside, Commander and his crew set up explosives behind a wall. Nokia sees this on security cameras and runs to warn everyone, but the villains blow open the wall. They start shooting and Ross pushes Nokia out of the way, taking a bullet in the back. Killmonger takes Clough away and T'Challa notices a ring around Killmonger's neck similar to one that belonged to his grandfather. Rather than pursue Clough, T'Challa decides to take Ross, who has been severely injured, while protecting the cure. Ross is given something to keep him stabilized until they return to Wakanda, where show he can use the nation's advanced technology to save him. The villains head to a plane that Killmonger wants to take to Wakanda. Cloud takes Killmonger's girlfriend as a hostage since he has other plans, but Killmonger kills the woman himself before shooting Clough. He tells Killmonger they won't let him into Wakanda until he reveals a tattoo on his lip that most Wakandans have. He then shoots Cloud dead. Back in What Kind of Walk, Happy expresses disappointment with T'Challa for failing to bring Clough. At the same time, Ross is being tended to by Shuri, who uses vibranium to heal his wounds. T'Challa often goes to find Shuri and ask him why Killmonger had his grandfather's ring. Shuri is then forced to admit what he knew about N'Jobu. In a flashback to 1992, we see that N'Jobu had stolen the vibranium to spread it to other people of African descent so that they may fight back against their oppressors. N'Jobu to turn his gun on Shuri, and T'Challa stepped in and killed N'Jobu with his claws. It filled T'Challa with great regret and they left his son Eric behind. The boy was on the courtyard when this happened and he later found his father's body. Eric would go on to become a Black Ops soldier who earned the nickname Killmonger due to his high body count, which is evident by the marks on his body for everyone has ever killed. Killmonger enters Wakanda with Clough's corpse. He presents it to Walk Happy, who escorts Killmonger to the palace. Killmonger reveals his true name, Injured Dhakar, and that he is N'Jobu's son. L'Akabi confirms it to everyone when he shows them Killmonger's ring. He announces his intention to claim the throne, challenging T'Challa for the throne in ritual combat. Deciding Killmonger has a legitimate claim, the ritual combat begins. With everyone gathers for the challenge by the force once again, with T'Challa relinquishing his powers for ritual combat. Killmonger fights brutally and almost easily overpowers T'Challa. Shuri steps to try and save T'Challa, knowing it is with him back Killmonger should hold a grudge. Killmonger fatally impales Shuri and he defeats T'Challa and hurls him over a waterfall to the horror of Reminder show in the Cure, where he is presumed dead. Thus Killmonger's made king after ingesting the heart-shaped herb to gain the powers of the Black Panther. Killmonger orders everyone to burn a garden of heart-shaped hearts for future kings, but Nikki manages to sneak one away with her. Nokia, Shuri, Ross and T'Challa, his mother Reminder, flee to seek the aid of the Jabara tribe in the mountains. They speak to M'Baku when asked for his help, and one M'Baku's men are caring for the comatose T'Challa they had rescued in repayment for sparing M'Baku's life. Reminder grounds that the heart-shaped derby into a drink to feed T'Challa brought by Nokia before they bury him in the snow that he rests upon. T'Challa returns to the ancestral plane again and meets the spirit of his father, who tells his son it's time to let go and join him and his ancestors. T'Challa demands to know why Eric was left as an orphan in the US when he should have been brought home to his people. T'Challa claims he did what he did for his people and will conduct to allow them to remain in isolation, but T'Challa angrily rejects this and states that they cannot hide from the rest of the world forever. He then tells his father's spirit he will not join them but will return to stop the monsters people created from sitting on the throne. T'Challa then wakes up and requests M'Baku's help in fighting Killmonger, but he refuses. Killmonger, supported by Walk Happy and his army in his father's plan. Killmonger prepares shipments of walk-in and weapons to be distributed to Walk Hand and operatives around the world, that of which includes New York City, London and Hong Kong. As one of their jets flies overhead, it is shot down by T'Challa, making his return as Black Panther. T'Challa challenges Killmonger for the throne, which was never officially concluded since T'Challa never died or conceded. When Killmonger refuses to cooperate, his claim to the throne is immediately invalidated and Okoye in the Dome a large turn against him. However, Killmonger, who is now wearing a suit of Black Panther armor of his own, resists with force along with the border tribe Wakabi and his army charge against T'Challa, but he blasts them away with his kinetic energy. Coogler then leaves the Dorima Lodge into battle. Shohi gives Ross access to a jet to shoot down the planes carrying the weapons before they can leave the Wakanda. Ross is able to shoot them all down, making a joint Shuri and Okoria as they fight. Killmonger as easily overpowers the Dorima Lodge with the new suit. Wakabi unleashes armored rhinos into the battle. The battle goes poorly for T'Challa aside until one Baku Imajabahi arrived to support him. One of the rhinos nearly runs down in Baku until a coin steps in. She forces Wakabi and his soldiers to surrender. Before Killmonger comes close to murdering Shuri, T'Challa saves her and tackles Killmonger into the Great Mount. T'Challa and Killmonger's battle carries them into the heart of the Vibranium mine. While T'Challa out and Killmonger V for supremacy, sonic disruptors used in the transport of the metal in the mine incapacitate their vibrating murmurs. T'Challa uses this to his advantage and overpowers Killmonger, impaling him with his own short spear. Now vulnerable and dying, Killmonger expresses regret over not seeing how beautiful Wakanda really is. T'Challa carries Killmonger out of the mine to see the sunset, which Job, who had described to him as a sight to behold. T'Challa offers Killmonger a chance to be healed, but he declines. Melon, he would only be imprisoned afterwards. Killmonger requests to be buried at sea with his ancestors as they knew death was better than bondage. He pulls the spear out of his chest and dies peacefully. With that victory, T'Challa is officially restored to the throne, with M'Baku granted a seat in the National Tribal Council to represent his tribe in recognition of his loyalty. T'Challa brings Show to Auckland outside Killmonger's old apartment. Projecting the isolationism of past Walken and Kings, T'Challa reveals he bought the building as well as two buildings next to it so that he may establish a Wakandan embassy in United States that Nokia and Shohi will spearhead. He then brings down there just so that the kids in the courtyard may see and be and off. One of the boys then approaches T'Challa and asks him who he is. Image credits scene. T'Challa is joined by Nokia, Shohi and Okoye at the United Nations. He announces his plan as to reveal what kind of resources to the world and to come out of isolation in the hope that they may work together with the rest of the world. In post-credits scene 3, Walken and children are looking upon someone and hot Shohi orders them to not bother the person. Bucky Barnes steps out of the hot and is met by Shohi, begins to help him with his recuperation from his mental programming.